Hi, it's me, Jason Statham, and I'm here to promote my new film, Shelter. I'm also the guy. I'm also the guy who was the beekeeper. I'm about to promote my new film, The Paediatrician.
What an actor, eh? What other films has he got? Go on, tell us.
Was he in The Italian Job? I can't remember.
The one with Michael Caine.
Oh, that's underrated gem. That is actually Italian
the
Job.
remake.
Yeah, he's in that. Yeah, I think so.
He is, of course he is. Do you know what his character's name is?
Go on.
Handsome Rob.
Stanley.
Handsome Rob.
Ah, right.
If I was called Rob, you'd want Handsome to come before it, wouldn't you?
It's that big bold head. Middle-aged women love it.
It's my big bold head. Middle-aged women love it.
That sounds like a Cockney accent too. He's not even a Cockney Statham, is he? I think he's from Midlands or something.
Yeah, right. Hello and welcome to episode 98 of Movie On Up with your hosts, me, Alfie Walker.
Me, Adam Barlow.
And...
Hi guys, I'm Sam Clark and I am the film critic for Spark FM, which is the University of Sunderland's student radio station, and that's how I know Adam and Alfie. And yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of being a guest spot on you guys' show. And thank you very much for having me on, by the way. It's going to be a good time. And yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of kicking off with you two and sort of talking about all things films and stuff like that. But yeah, I also have a film studies undergrad from University of Salford as well. So yeah, film is in my blood, basically, it's sort of safe to say.
He's a man of our own heart.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you for joining us, Sam. It's not often we get willing guests on this show. Who have we had previously? We've had your brother, Alfie, who can't really say
my
no
brother
to us.
twice or three times.
Yeah.
We've had Ewan Walsh once.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's about it. Josh Brooker, of course, friend of the show.
Josh, yeah.
But we usually have to drag them on, so it's nice having someone contact us and say, "Can I come on?"
Yeah, very much so. I mean, me and Adam have been corresponding since when Superman came out, because I remember being in my Odeon lobby, and I think he reacted to my story about it, and we kind of like started interacting and kind of talking. But I remember seeing Adam at the SRA con in Salford, which was the last one. And then I think I saw you from across the room like a few times, but obviously didn't know you or anything like that. But started corresponding a few months ago, and obviously it's kind of picked up since then, basically, I'd say. So yeah, it's kind of been a bit like a recent thing, I would say.
Yeah. Well, it's great to have you on. It's really lovely. And I feel like you're going to show up our film knowledge. I feel like you've got an encyclopedic well of film.
It's so weird, right? Because I'm dyslexic, right? And I've got memory issues and all that kind of thing. But with films, I've always had just a creepy amount of good knowledge for films. Like the amount I know, I'm like, why do I hold on to this information for? Why do I remember that? Why do I remember this? And my entire family kind of makes fun of me for it. Everyone's saying, you know, you've got memory issues, you've got all this stuff, and yet you can remember everything about a film. And so yeah, it's so sometimes pointless in kind of very like irrelevant information about films I just remember like at the back of like locked in my head, and I don't know why that is, but yeah, it's a gift, I'd say.
Well, the next time we go to the Pulp Kitchen quiz, we know who to add on our team. Bit of a train journey down for you.
It's obviously, I'm from Newcastle, so obviously it feels like we're talking from different obviously planets and like different countries right now. I mean, you guys are literally as far away as I could possibly get. I mean, Bournemouth and Portsmouth and stuff, that's literally the furthest away we can possibly, well, it's almost the furthest away we can be doing this, basically.
So I mean, this whole thing is being held together by dodgy Wi-Fi and VPNs. So I mean, if one of us just starts speaking a different language or like drops out and just goes silent for 25 minutes, don't worry, it's probably just the Wi-Fi. But that's just a disclaimer.
If one of us starts speaking a different language, that's just Sam's lovely accent really coming through.
Yeah. Got to flex on this one, I think. So yeah.
Adam, what are we going to be talking about today? It's going to be a bit of a bitty episode. We've sort of caught up on a lot of ones that we haven't seen. Sam's seen a film that we haven't reviewed yet. Adam saw a press screener a couple of weeks ago that he's going to finally review now the embargo's lifted. What films are you going to be talking about today, Adam?
Today, Alf, I am going to be tackling Saipan, the film that follows the story of Roy Keane in the 2002 World Cup. It also stars our good friend, buddy old pal, Steve Coogan, not doing Partridge, although every time he squints his face and goes like, "Oh, do you want to get the footballs?" It does seem very Partridge. I'm also going to be talking about 100 Nights of Hero, which, as you said, Alf, I saw at a press screening about 2 weeks ago, and it was in this slightly odd venue in Piccadilly Circus. It was like 4 stories down underneath the pavement in London, and I was like, oh god, what am I walking into here? And they're like all orange seats and sort of dim lighting. It was a bit seedy, but I'll get onto that one.
I'm going to be talking about The Housemaid, and Sam's also seen that, so he's going to be talking about that. That's one that's been out for a while now, but we haven't caught it. The film that both Adam and Sam have seen, the brand new one out, is of course, Jason Statham Shelter, the film. That's obviously where his lovely impression came from at the beginning. I mean, Jason was on the show at the beginning of the podcast. And then Sam has also seen Primate, so you're going to be reviewing that for us, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen a mixture of everything we're doing today. I've seen Housemaid, I've seen Shelter, and since you guys haven't seen Primate, I will be filling you in on that. And honestly, I had such a ball with that. I'm going to have to kind of rein myself in when I talk about that, because the experience I had in that cinema was just the best thing ever. It was awesome. And yeah, more to come on that, but it was a blast from beginning to end.
That's so good, because I've only seen bad stuff about Primate, really. So
yeah, I'm the only person who's, spoiler alert, loved it. So I'm kind of defending my corner at the minute here. But yeah, you have fun with a film. You have fun with a film. So there you go.
I don't want to put you on the spot now, so I'll put you on the spot later. But just so you know, when we get to it, a big part of our podcast is impressions. Not all of them accurate. Well, none of them accurate. Mm-hmm. But if you can do a monkey impression or a primate impression, by all means, whip it out when we get to the review.
Yeah. Also think about.
I'm underqualified. That will say.
Also think about your top films, because I think we'll be asking you those too. I think as rite of passage, as a film person now, you've got to know your Letterboxd top 4.
And let me tell you right now, I don't even have Letterboxd. So off to a terrible start. I generally don't have Letterboxd, and I can't believe I don't. But I've never bothered to download it, and I don't know how or why. But yeah, there
you go. Start mulling that over in your head. We're going to be asking for 4 top films from you a bit later. Gotcha. So yeah,
gotcha.
Do you want to take it away, Adam? What film are we doing first?
I want to hear about The Housemaid. I'm dying to hear about this one. Sydney Sweeney, always just giving it large. So take it away, guys.
I mean, I had to admit defeat on this one, because when I came out the screening, I did a quick kind of story reaction for Spark, and I really slated the film. I really kind of gave it one. But then I thought I went away, read and listened to reviews, and I thought, oh, I've completely missed the plot here. I've completely misunderstood what it is. So by the time I went on there to do it, I had pretty much done a complete turnaround and go, you know what, it's not that bad. So, but I remember being on there saying I was originally wrong about this, and I actually liked it. So it was one of those things that it required some sleep for me to kind of sleep on.
I think you said in our group chat when we were organising this earlier, you said I think you just said cheesy 90s fun, and that is exactly what it feels like.
That's kind of the tip of the iceberg, / erotic thriller / sort of horror-y. No, it's not horror, but it's kind of psychological thriller with a good bit of gore at the end. I mean, it gets violent for what it is as well. It's like it pulls out the stop in terms of the violence. And I did have my entire hand over my face for the teeth scene, because teeth, fingernails, and toenails is stuff I can't handle in films. I can handle extreme levels of gore, like beheadings, all this stuff is fine. But when it comes to tiny stuff like that, I've got to look away. I can't stomach that. And yeah, I just heard that scene. I didn't see it, but it was a hard watch for me, given my fears of those three things.
Absolutely. I think it's the kind of film I would say your mum would love it. Whoever's listening to this, your mum's going to love it. And your 20-year-old girls in their groups are also going to love it. It's totally aimed at like the women audience, and you're definitely going to get the same sort of people who go watch the like Colleen Hoover trash, or they like that sort of like, slightly sexual, a little bit, seedy sort of.
Oh, slightly sexual. Whoa.
It's your middle-aged women are really going to like it. The same reason they like 50 Shades of Grey as well. It's just sexy and steamy.
You only just saw this, so how busy was your showing for this?
Dead.
Yeah, I was gonna say it can't have been anyone but you. I mean, when I saw this on a Wednesday before it opened, so it was kind of a preview kind of showing, and it was full. It was almost packed to the rafters, and it was a mixture of both men and women. But the kind of you could tell people were there because they knew what they were going to get. They were going to get the steaminess. And when this stuff started happening, you could feel the kind of the giggling going on. You could feel kind of people starting to laugh. And it's completely understandable because it is utter steam. It's utter, like, it knows exactly what it's doing. And my crowd reacted to it well, which is what you want from a film. So they did react to the raunchiness of it quite well, to be honest.
So for anyone who's uninitiated, the film stars Sydney Sweeney as Millie, and you've got Amanda Seyfried in there as Nina, and you've got Brandon Skelenar, I think his name is in there. Skelenar as Andrew, and he is the hunk of the film in his white vest with grease over all the way through. It's nothing special, like you said, I don't think, but it's a decent enough sort of creepy, slightly uneasy thriller. It follows the Winchesters, who are like branded as this almost perfect couple, and they hire a new housemaid who is Sydney Sweeney, and it starts off in quite innocent, but I don't think it shocked anyone. I think you can clearly tell the road it's going to go and what it's going to do. You get Nina, who is, Amanda Seyfried's character, having quite a sharp personality turn, really quite quick. At one point, I was like, have I fell asleep and woken up? 1 second ago, she was lovely as anything, and now she's a fucking nutcase. It really took me by surprise. And I think she's quite good. She's not, by no means is it some phenomenal performance, but I think it's quite easy to play crazy and come off as cringy and really, really over the top. I think she played it quite well, to be honest.
I mean, we've never seen her do crazy or crazy before, none I can think of. No, I count Mamma Mia as crazy, but other than that, it's kind of sort of, But then Amanda, she's got awards buzz as well, with Testament of Anne Lee coming soon. So in terms of, this is going to be her kind of popcorn kind of film in terms of giving it to the mainstream. But then with Testament of Anne Lee, that's her kind of awards, kind of this is what I can do, kind of Oscar kind of bait kind of thing. So she's having fun with this, but then with Testament of Anne Lee, she's going to be kind of more serious and grounded. But I was impressed with how crazy she could go in terms of, I've never seen her do crazy, but in terms of the first time I've seen her do it, it was a home run for her. She was really good at doing it.
And then, as Sam said, the film just, devolves into sort of craziness. And I don't know, I think some people would have easily guessed the twist, and I mean, we'll spoil it at this point, but it's not the women who are crazy, it's the man, and he's the controlling one.
What?
Surprise!
What? Is this some sort of satire?
And it's exactly like Companion, like that weird, the AI one from the year.
That happens all
the Invisible Man a few years ago now, the Lee Winnell one. Same thing there, a high business sort of guy who's actually the evil man.
And you'll see that this Friday with Sent Help, which I call on Monday. That's even more so. That's the pinnacle of this. And so when that comes out, that's even more kind of on the nose masculinity going on there. And that was a good time. But in terms of films that are kind of running on this theme of men just being insecure little babies, that's 100% what's going to be.
I mean, I don't know if we can comment on that, really, being three white guys on a podcast here. So.
I was going to say.
The flashback at the end, it didn't take me surprise. It might take some people by surprise. It does a good job at pitting these sort of women against each other and pushing that they're crazy. And then you get the reveal. And like you said, I cannot handle teeth. I can do beheading. I can do all this vile gore that you see in Saw films with skinning and anything like that. My God, ripping out a front tooth. No way, cannot do that. And there's this really weird ongoing joke about the Kubrick film Barry Lyndon. I don't really get the relevance of it.
Yeah. just that was kind of just trying to claw for some kind of reference, and it did
Yeah,
not work.
absolutely, absolutely. But no, I mean, like you said, it's a popcorn flick, and it's not going to stick in my head by any means, but it was a fun enough watch
Yeah.
for sure.
And financially, I think it did really well. I think it did absolute gangbusters from what I saw in terms of like last time I checked, but I can quickly just check this now. But it's like I thought it would do the rounds on TikTok more than it did. But in terms of sort of Wuthering Heights, I think is going to be a proper TikTok kind of film. But I thought this would have been like doing the social media rounds, but it wasn't. So yeah, it's kind of not what I expected, but yeah, kind of still does what it says on the tin, I think, to be honest.
Right, Saipan, the new film starring Steve Coogan and Aina Hardwick, who plays Roy Keane, a world-renowned footballer, Irishman, very proud Irishman, who took no shit from anyone, very headstrong character, and it follows him and Steve Coogan playing Mick McCarthy, follows their sort of battle and headlocking before the 2002 FIFA World Cup. So Saipan is, when I went in, I had no idea, like, who's Saipan? Apparently it's a place. It's the place where they went to practice their teamwork and, rest up before the World Cup, of course. So you've got Mick McCarthy, who is a pretty likable character, looks quite sort of accurate, actually, when you see the sort of side-by-side images that they played during the credits. I think they've actually pulled it off pretty well. Same goes for Roy Keane. One of the most unnecessary dick shots in this film, by the way. Roy Keane at one point is taking a shower, and you just see his full appendage out, and let me tell you, he could score a free kick with that one.
Or Samson from the Bone
Sam,
Temple?
yeah.
Oh, that was going to come up eventually, wasn't it? Oh, God.
It's all we can think about. It's really etched in my mind, that. So yeah, Saipan is quite a contained story. I think I would be surprised if they went out to shoot on location, although then again, I can imagine Steve Coogan campaigning for a holiday. I feel like he's that sort of man. So it's kind of hard to tell whether or not they just filmed it on a sound studio or not. I can't quite tell, but it's very contained. Feels very sweaty, feels very claustrophobic. And it's just this 90-minute short film, basically, of these two not liking each other and kind of really tearing each other down. And Mick McCarthy, quite a polite, likeable man. Everyone else seemed to be quite fine with him. He was an English bloke managing the Irish team, which is where Roy Keane took issue. He's like, well, actually, you don't represent me. You don't represent our country. Why are you here? And basically this location where they go to train is totally unequipped. So they're just eating cheese sandwiches from this sort of fly-infested hotel, and they don't have footballs for the first few days when they're there. And Roy Keane's like, how do you want me to practice football if I don't have footballs? And he's just going off the rails, and it's quite awkward. Like, you're not sure how it's going to go. I will say it does a very good job of putting you in that early 2000s time frame. I think it's sort of. Do you remember the film Air with not Will Smith, Matt Damon? Yes.
What am I thinking of?
Not that one.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. That was
Yeah,
solid,
I really liked it, and I think that does a great job of dropping you in with like it's a bit cliche, but they just use like loads of clips from the news and loads of what would it have been, 80s music, right? So it's like that, but they use early 2000s pop, and they're always taking like clips of actual news broadcasts. And I will say, I think that's my biggest takeaway, which I think gives away how I feel about the film on a wider level. My favourite part of this film was seeing the old BBC coverage. I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. Like, there's that presenter. I recognise them from like other big stories at the time, and I really like that. I think I went along with my dad, who is a huge Roy Keane fan. He really is a big Manchester United fan. Of course, Roy Keane played for Man U, and he went along, kind of encouraged me to go see it. I sort of mentioned, oh, Saipan's on, it's a football one. He's like, oh, what's it about? Roy Keane. He's like, oh, I'll go see it 100%. I was like, okay. Went along for quite a late sort of 8:45 screening. Not too bad, because as I said, it's quite a short runtime. But the first thing my dad said to me when we got out of the screening was, I'm surprised they made that into 90 minutes. And I was like, I clapped my hands. I was like, you've summed that up. This feels like the sort of thing that should be a 45-minute it could have a decent budget for sure. Keep the budget, but it should be a 45-minute or hour-long max.
BBC Sunday night thing.
Yeah,
BBC,
flagship
yeah.
thing. Stick it on Easter Sunday. That's exactly where it should be. It's not got the cast or the plot isn't like substantial enough, and you kind of think it's going to build up to some sort of physical fight or a real like meaningful point, but it just kind of they argue in a conference room and then they go their separate ways and that's it, which obviously they can't embellish what actually happened because it's a true story, but it is just really strange because you really think that like if this is a film in the cinema it's going to have some sort of grand scale conclusion, but no, it just kind of withers away and it's really bizarre. I can't think of a film quite like it because it's almost not a film. Do you know what I mean? It's really bizarre. I don't think it's bad. It's just really underwhelming. And I as someone who's not a football fan, I as I say, I didn't really take much away from it. I think if you are a football fan, if you're a fan of Roy Keane, then you might be on his side and quite interested to relive that moment and have some more context, perhaps that you wouldn't have had beyond the headlines and beyond the news anchors saying updates every couple of days. That might be interesting. But for a film fan and just a casual viewer, I really didn't get anything from it, I'm afraid. I mean, Steve Coogan doing fine work, has a couple good one-liners. Roy Keane, actor, I think does a very good job. I've not seen him in anything else. I think he's very convincing and very accurate. Again, as I say, the photos and the credits look like for like, all very well done. But beyond that, it's fading from my memory.
This is where my input is crucial because I live and breathe football, you see, but I don't know the story, or I've never heard the story. So on the one hand, I love football, but on the other hand, I haven't heard the story before. Yeah, in terms of, I think I saw the trailer. I thought the trailer looked promising. I thought it looked quite good. And obviously, their two rivalries together is what you need to get right. But yeah, I mean, sort of, I'm not entirely. I think Mick McCarthy in real life. Yes, Steve Coogan looks a little bit like him, but I'm not sure if I originally saw it as much. But yeah, I need to check this out because yeah, I love football, but I didn't get around to seeing this, but I haven't heard the story in real life either. So I think this is where the other side of it, being a football fan, would have come in handy. But I do think I probably still would have shared same thoughts as you, sort of, how long's the story? How do they make it happen?
I mean, obviously we're 24 years on from the fact, but I think the fact that this isn't something that people have discussed since 2002, I think is telling that this isn't really a worthwhile thing to revisit. And I will say that it just, I don't think it's substantiated a 90-minute runtime, and that's my biggest takeaway.
And I'm guessing you two are the only ones in your screening, I take it.
There was about 3 other people, but we all walked out, and it was just
Really?
silent.
Okay.
Indictment, that is,
Yeah.
The two takeaways I'd get there would be, one, it must be nice that this film at least got you in the cinema with your dad, because I can't imagine you go with him to see a film often. So that's one.
That's
good
very
thing.
true.
And two, well, we meant to see this at the film festival, and we passed it by. And are you glad we passed it by?
We passed it by, Sam, to defend ourselves. We had a day booked at the London Film Festival. We had Die My Love with Robert Pattinson and J. Law. Then we had this. Then we would have had like a 20-minute gap between coming out of the cinema in Soho to then darting back over to the South Bank, which is at least a 20-minute walk away, for the gala screening of A History of Sound. So we were like, my suggestion was like, I think... we binned it off, and we got to then take photos and see Paul Mescal and Josh O'Connor just swan around. And I think that's a much better use of our time. So I'm glad I don't regret that.
Fair enough. I can't fault that. Yeah, that's a tricky one, that is, isn't it? So.
And it meant that I got Russell Tovey to touch me on my shoulder. So I'd rather have that than go see Steve Coogan in bad makeup. So. The new film from Johannes Roberts, who directed a Resident Evil film in 2021. It wasn't very good, so that's why we're looking forward to the Zach Cregger one coming out next year, I believe. But yeah, Johannes Roberts' newest film, Primate. Take it away, Sam. How did you find this film?
Yeah, so this is the head I've been going with. This is the best creature feature I've ever seen, and I think the best creature feature ever made. And the experience I saw this at is 100%. I came away thinking I could walk straight back into it. Have you guys done the secret screenings before Cineworld?
We've done Scream Unseen, which is Odeon's equivalent.
Scream Unseen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the same thing. Because I went along to one of mine at my local Cineworld, and if it was going to be 20 years later, I'd walk out because I already had tickets to see that at a later date. But if it was Primate, I stay put. And so I was literally my bag on my back, ready to walk out as soon as the film started because I need to leave. This is 20 years. And when Primate came on, the entire cinema erupted into clapping because everyone wanted. Everyone was so ready to see it. Everyone was like, "Oh yeah, get in!" And I had two Americans behind me that went, "Oh, is that the monkey film?" And I was like, "Yeah, get ready for this."
What do you?
But,
sorry, hang on.
Primate.
The film's called Primate, and he's like, "Sorry, guys, is that the monkey film?" Yeah, mate, it might be.
They were the loudest ones in there, but these two people behind me, they were the loudest in there by far. Not talking, but in terms of laughing their heads off. But I could talk the entire show about this, but it starts with a guy, Rob Delaney, kind of like a cameo from Rob Delaney. He basically plays a vet who pays it's Ben. He basically pays Ben a visit at the start of the film, and this is when we're introduced to him. And Ben then rips this guy's face off, and then from there on out, the entire crowd around me was just laughing and clapping and all the rest of it. And as soon, it's one of those opening sequences that sort of the film goes, right, this is what you're going to be in for. This is what you're going to be seeing. Get ready, strap in. And as soon as the film started, the laughing began, the clapping began. And I didn't expect to have this much of a good time with it, and I was seriously surprised by it. And the guy who's made this, it's really surprising given the B movie stuff he's done in the past. I've not seen any of his films. I know of his films, but I've not seen the 47 meters films. I've not seen Resident Evil, and so this is him actually. This is a B movie monster flick that's done so well. And I looked at his filmography, and I thought, you've really done some stinkers in the past. You've really done some kind of almost straight to video kind of films. But in terms of suspense, in terms of having a blast, having fun with monsters, I've never seen it done this well in terms of just pure carnage and just having fun with the practical gore in this is just on another level. And there's one moment. Actually, I don't want to say that moment, but there's one really sustained moment, like in that takes place like a really claustrophobic bit in a bedroom. I'll say that much, in which you're waiting for something bad to happen. You know it's coming, but you don't know what's gonna. It's a level. It's something gory is about to take place with the monkey and someone else. You know this monkey's about to kill this person, but you don't know when it is. You don't know how the monkey's going to do it, or you don't know when it's going to strike. And it's this like sustained piece for like 10 minutes, which is just on the edge of your seat thinking, I have no idea what the film's going to do next. It's so unpredictable. And everyone around me is getting increasingly more nervous and increasingly kind of more giggly because we know this extreme level of gore is about to happen, but we don't know what it's going to be or when it's going to strike. And me being the thing with teeth and fingernails and toenails, if there was a bit with teeth going on here, I need to cover my eyes. But what then happened in this scene, when you do finally see it, it was worth it. It was so worth it. Everyone just laughed their socks off. And it's obviously this is kind of weird thing I find with horror. And the main, not criticism I found with Primate, but the main question I had was, I don't know if it's meant to be, if you're meant to laugh at it or with it. And it's one of those horror films. I mean, obviously with Weapons, that had some comedic moments. That went for the comedy. But with this, it didn't feel like Weapons did, because Weapons had the comedic edge to it. This, I can't tell if we're meant to laugh with it or not. And the two Americans behind me, there's one moment when a character gets killed, and I didn't find it that funny. But the two people behind me, I've never heard laughter in a film like that loud in my entire life. And I thought, fair enough, it's not funny for me, but if you guys are having a blast, then obviously it's good on you. And I've just realised I've not even done the plot setup yet because I was so interested in just getting into this straight away. But it's a killer monkey gets rabies, and the family's basically taking care of him. They all kind of he rips them apart like bit by bit, person by person, until the film basically ends. But it's one of the biggest surprises so far this year for me, and it's going to be my top 5 of the year by the end of the year.
Insane.
It's going to be. It's not gonna be one of the academic ones. It's gonna be the guilty pleasure one. It's gonna be the popcorn one that you go, it was rubbish, but the time I had in the cinema and the experience I had was worth it on the top 5 list. But I do say it's like, it is disposable entertainment, but the level of suspense to it is actually really well done. I mean, there are moments in which you're just on the edge of your seat, and it's genuinely, from suspense level, it is well done. It is playful. It is well done B movie, and obviously a well done B movie is so hard to come by now. But I came away from the screening thinking that was one of the best experiences I've ever had in a cinema, and I was not expecting having that much fun with it. And yeah, the best crowd I've ever experienced a film with, the best crowd experience. And experiencing a horror crowd, like I said in my review, a horror crowd is the best crowd to be with, and being in a sold out horror crowd, if you've got a horror film that's packed to the rafters with people, that's even better, and even better time. And when I saw Weapons was sold out and stuff. And the experience I had with Weapons was just as good because it was sold out. But with this, people are laughing their heads off like baboons, like hyenas, cackling. And that's just what the film is. That's representative of what the film is. It's a laughing good time. But in terms of monster movies, creature features, gory practical effects, you'll come across very, very few that are this well done. Really kind of shockingly violent and shockingly gory. But obviously, I know Adam's not into his horror, but if you do like your horror and like your gore, you've got to check this out at least at some point. But I can't recommend it
You're
enough.
so spot on about the audience being key to having a good time. Because I can imagine if you're sat there with, like you said, 100, however many people in this screening, and you're all sat there kicking your feet and like monkeys, like ripping people's face off, stuff like that. The same way people react to, I guess it's not as horror-y, but like Ray Fiennes
And
in the Bone
I'll
Temple,
say-
like it's
yeah,
just people
exactly.
get so engaged
that
with
piece.
it. And
I'll take this even further, not that I've not done that already. This beat, I saw Spider-Man No Way Home on its first showing on its opening day at like 6 a.m. or something like that. The crowd reaction I experienced with this was better than No Way Home
No
on its opening
way.
day. And it was genuinely louder, genuinely just people just loving themselves so much. I mean, with No Way Home, it was the occasional clap and cheer. But with Primate, it was non-stop laughing, clapping, cheering for 90 minutes. So with No Way Home, you've got a 2.5-hour film in which people are clapping at various points, which is fine. But with this, it was 90 minutes of consistent laughing, consistent giggles, and consistent like cheering and stuff. And that's just what you take away from it. And that's why we go to the cinema. That's like stuff we experience like that makes a film even better. And that's why it was a 4-star film, but the crowd did make it that extra 1 up, extra 5. It was so good.
When does Robbie Williams sing in it?
Yeah, very good. That's it.
Bosh.
Adam went to a press screening of this one a couple of weeks back now, but the embargo has finally lifted. We've got the new film. Is it starring, or I don't know about starring, but it features our friend of the show, Richard E. Grant, right, Adam? Is this a 100 Nights a Hero?
It absolutely does. And he's having a fantastic time.
That's better than your Statham, that is. That is
I'm
solid.
glad, because I rely on that one more. Yeah, Richard E. Grant, I must say, he needs to have a word with his agent, okay? Because he may be getting a lot of work, but he's only getting like 3 lines. You know, like when he was in Argyle, playing basically
I
M
forgot
from
about
James
that.
Bond.
Oh my
I mean,
God, yeah.
he says like 2 lines. He's like, "Find that spy." Well, no, he says the exact same line in Star Wars. So
in Star Wars.
this
Oh,
man, he's on
reminded me of that.
autopilot going through his career at the moment. I mean, he has the occasional good moments in things like Loki, but bless him, he didn't need to take a day out for this. He has 3 lines. I'm not exaggerating there, and he's got maybe 2 scenes at the start of the film. So I was a little bit disappointed there wasn't more Richard E. Grant. But that aside, it stars Mike Monroe, who I think was in Longlegs as the officer in that.
Yep.
Emma Corrin as well, who's done some great work recently, and Charlie XCX of all people, who is getting in films quite a bit now, isn't she? I mean, The Moment is this.
And she's got a new.
I think it is The Moment.
She's got The Moment coming out. Yeah, it's The Moment. Yeah, and it's
And
in
Wuthering Heights, I think she's doing the soundtrack for. So it's
soundtrack.
all
Yeah,
kicking
she
off.
did the I think I'm gonna die in this. House.
Yeah. Oh man, the trend on that is brilliant on TikTok. Yeah. So also stars Nicholas Gilsey as Manfred. That's a name.
I thought that's who it was. I saw some of the posters like you look like Nicholas.
Yeah.
I thought that was who it
So
was. Yeah.
the plot, how do I describe it? So it's set in this sort of high fantasy world. It's basically medieval England, right? But it's all very fantastical. It's very religious, but not to our gods. It's to Birdman, okay, who is lovingly played by Rich D. Grant, of course.
Right.
So it starts out and you're following this young girl who I think is the daughter of Birdman, and they're in this heaven type space and they're playing around, and the kid, just for a bit of a laugh, is like, I'm going to make Earth. Why not? I'm going to do that. And then Owlman comes along and is like, hang on, all these humans do is make love and have a good time. I want them to worship me and say thank you for this. So then the whole world is, as I say, kind of medieval, but everyone is dressing up as birds. And like the really religious figures have these huge elaborate bird costumes on and big like feathered cloaks, masks, all that sort of stuff. And it's a really stylized, almost a bit like an Emerald Fennel film, I would say. It's that kind of level of intricate fanciness throughout the whole thing, which is quite fun. It's very sort of lots of purples, lots of pinks, lots of like gold and silver. It's very lavish. And it focuses on Michael Monroe's character, who plays Cherry, and then Hero is Emma Corrin, who sort of titular character there. And it's about lots of things, but the core kind of structure of the plot is Cherry has to be wed to someone and has to produce an heir for the family because she's a member of this royal dynasty, basically. And Cherry is clearly, while she's got a husband, he's got absolutely no interest in sharing a bed, let alone going any further. So you've got this really weird dynamic where her husband is like not interested. He goes to speak to his mate, Manfred, played by Nicholas Galatine, and is then like, right, I'm going to leave for 100 nights and I'm going to leave you in this castle and you can have my room, but you have to promise me you can't touch her. Like, you can't try and woo her in any way. And you've got this really weird setup where you're not quite sure what the motivations of these characters are. It's a little bit messy. I don't think it ever really makes much sense. You kind of think that he's setting him up to kind of get him off the hook and just be like, oh, look, it's my heir. Yeah. Anyway, because Cherry's going to get executed if she doesn't produce an heir. It's very religious, as I say. So you've then got a montage of these 100 days or 100 nights rolling through, and it culminates in basically Hero trying to distract Cherry and Manfred by telling stories. So Emma Corrin, every now and then, whenever it gets a bit uncomfortable and a bit like you're getting quite close to her for nefarious purposes, and she then starts telling this story which features, you can tell it's a fucking mess of a film because I'm taking ages to do it. It features Charlie XCX in this fictional story, so that it then has an air of, gosh, I'm blanking on the name, but it had Tilda Swinton and Idris Elba, and it was that.
Oh, George Miller, and George Miller directed it. What's it called? Yeah, I'll Google that. That's going to annoy
The
me now,
Genie
actually.
film feels like that because it's like
the
lots
Genie
of
one.
different vignettes, story pieces that kind of tell a wider thing, which is a nice idea in concept. I think it feels a bit messy and a little bit abstract, and I don't think they fully kind of land the plane with it. But I'll just skip to the end. It then becomes about the importance of women reading and writing and having independence and not relying on men, which is a totally fine hook to hang your film on. But I think it kind of wastes a bit of time in telling that story. Again, it's a bit like Saipan. I don't think it quite substantiates its runtime. And like, it's only 90 minutes, which I think is pretty unfortunate. So while it looks colourful, the performances are all kind of a bit almost Wes Anderson-y. Like, the dialogue doesn't quite sound natural. It's all a bit sort of off kilter, a bit Lucas Guadagnino, a little bit of Yorgos Lanthimos. It's that kind of blend of just everything's a little bit offset and wonky and odd. And it's playful with its concept, but because you then have a montage of 100 nights, you then know, like, okay, this film's going to be like, okay, day 1, day 2, day 3, and it really plods along. And then it kind of eventually starts taking chunks out, and you go like day 25, day 30, and you're like, oh my goodness, please get to day 100 because like nothing of note is going to happen until then. And lo and behold, that is the case. And Yeah, I was a little bit underwhelmed by it. I don't. Again, it's not bad, but I do think it's pretty heavy-handed with its messages, and the ending is just, yeah, it didn't quite work for me. I won't spoil it, but there's a really, really small cameo by a very major British actress in there, and you're like, which, by the way, they give away in the trailer, so don't watch the trailer because that does spoil it. Weird choice to do because, again, they only have like one line, so they bring in all these big actors, but then don't get them to do anything, and it's almost like this would have been better, I think, as a TV show. Which sounds strange, given that I said, like, well, 90 minutes seems a bit weird. I think had they paced out the days over 10 episodes and like each one being half an hour, I think it would have worked. But for what it is, it's
3,000 years long. It was that Idris Elba.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
And again, an interesting film, felt quite experimental, and I put this in the same boat. I think it's doing different things, and as I say, the feminist themes at the core of this film is fine, totally good, but I don't think it felt quite childish, I think, in its execution. I can see if you show this film to a sort of edgy 13-year-old girl that's like a bit alternative, I think she'd love it. But then when she reaches 15, she'd be like, that's a weird film, isn't it? And you'd then be like, that's not quite worked, has it? So it probably will find a very specific audience that is young tweens, but I don't think there's anything in there for anyone else, unfortunately.
Who's directed this?
I believe it's her first film. I just had a look at this.
Oh, debut. Yeah. Okay, right. Sometimes directorial debuts are sometimes quite quirky and edgy, and sometimes sort of this random filmmaker who's never done a film before but's got a background in like loads of like really sort of weird short films has come to sort of do these films now, which is the path and avenue most directors anyway take. But yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
As I say, not bad, but it wasn't quite for me.
It sounds like a lot of these things we're talking about, obviously getting big actors to be in only like 2 scenes in a film. It's like when you have a cast list on a poster and you've got your it's like the thing that Cold Storage is doing this week. You got 2 normal names, you got the and then you got the big person at the end. So you wait for the actor, like the big actor, to be at the end of the cast list, to be the and Liam Neeson, for example, in his new film this week. So it seems like we have a lot of actors nowadays doing the same thing, like kind of they are the and Liam Neeson and Bill Nighy, for example, or something like that. So it's a shame to like waste some talent, but if it doesn't work, then
I've not heard much about this one. When I said I was potentially going to go see it last night, I said I wasn't very keen. And then I did have one of you say, you might be surprised. So this is Shelter.
Yeah, that was me.
By starring Jason Statham. Also got some other good people in there. Bill Nighy, Naomi Ackie. Take it away, the both of you. How was this film?
Do you want to kickstart, Adam? Or
yeah, I guess I could give it my 2 cents. The latest in my films where it's just an abstract name or a word, but it turns out I'm an ex-military man. And this is Shelter, starring whatever his name is, Jason Statham. No, he's good in everything, I've got to say, and always a delight. I really like his energy. I mean, how old is he now? Like, is he in his 58? Bloody hell. I mean, not quite Tom Cruise, let's be honest. I don't think he's doing stunts like that.
That's what I said. I said that on when I was doing mine. I made that comparison because you kind of have to.
Do you think he's taller than Tom Cruise?
Is he tall?
Everyone's taller than Tom Cruise.
Is he taller than 90 minutes? That's the question.
He's 5'10", apparently.
Is he?
I thought he'd be taller. Won't lie, guys.
Yeah.
He's not he's kind of middle-ish height.
Yeah. I really liked him in Hobbs and Shaw.
I think Rosie What's-Her-Face is taller than him, though, his wife.
You reckon?
She's like, she's 5'11".
But he doesn't need height, though. Like, in this film, when he does one of those spinny kicks, I feel like every punch lands. Like, it really felt heavy. And he's swanning around in a jacket and a beanie hat, and he just looks down cool. Like, he's got a bit of a thicker beard than he normally does. Normally it's just the stubble, but
caveman fisherman beard. He's got the sweater
grizzled.
As well,
he's there just like looking windswept. You won't be surprised if there's like ice building up in his eyebrows. He's having a good time, bless him. He's a recluse on this island. What does the shelter relate to? Is it his relationship with the girl in the film, or is it just he's taking shelter on the island? Because I didn't really ever.
I didn't give it more than 5 seconds consideration, to be honest. I was like, you live on an island in a hut
Yeah,
somewhere.
I don't think the
fair enough.
writers gave it any more than 5 seconds consideration either. I had a really good time with this, I've got to say. I haven't seen many Jason Statham films, but that's not like a damning thing because he puts one out like every year and it's always like they all blend together. But the ones I have seen, I really enjoy. And this is no exception. I really liked it. I think it's a bit cliche and pretty. I think I could kind of work out where it was all going to lead to. So that in that regard, it's not surprising anyway. I still was on the edge of my seat, and like I really, as I said at the start, like every punch lands, and it just felt pretty real. I had a good time with it. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I was speaking to someone I know through student radio as well, and he made a good comparison that I didn't think of, and I should have made on my show. He's basically saying that when he's working with David Ayer, those are more brainless action films, whereas this one is Rick Roman. Wow, I want to say, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but the guy who did the Gerard Butler Has Fallen films, Angels Fallen film.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a more grounded action director. Obviously, the Has Fallen films are not grounded whatsoever. But he made this comparison. This someone else I know saying that when he's doing films like A Working Man or Beekeeper, that's him going all out Statham. Whereas this, I found to be kind of restrained and subtle, and him kind of not going guns blazing. And I kind of appreciate that. I mean, I was more emotionally engaged with the story than I thought I would be. And it's a direct remake of Safe, which I said on air, sort of from 2012, that film, in which I don't know who directed that. I think it might have been Luc Besson, or I might be wrong on that. But there was a film he did back in 2012 called Safe, in which he was a former someone, I don't know what he did, in which he basically had to protect a young girl from like triads in New York. And that was a good film and stuff. But this is basically the same thing. But I liked how it was restrained. It's quite quiet for most of it.
Yeah.
It's like Statham goes quiet a lot through it. Like he goes some time without speaking
Yeah.
much. And obviously the connection and relationship they both have in the film, I was quite engaged by. I mean, it's not giving much away, but there's a picture where a girl draws a picture of a dog for him. I'm not going to give you the context of that, but there's a kind of sweet moment that they're bonding with each other, and the kind of, there's a nice little dog in the film as well, which you love. But yeah, the fact that he's 58 and still doing those kind of kicks and stuff, I was like, wow, fair enough. I mean, like Tom Cruise, he is someone, he wanted to be a stuntman, I think, at some point. And obviously, he's a former Olympic diver.
Yeah, of
That small
course.
thing.
Is
He used
he?
to dive for Britain. So he's very much seasoned in, you know, extreme sport and doing all this kind of thing. And I love Statham. My favorite Statham film is Transporter 2, which I think is the best Transporter film. But I love Statham. And like anytime a new Statham action film's out, I'm on board. But yeah, it's the kind of when he's part of me was like, I mean, the action in it is fantastic, but my main takeaway was how for Statham film it was subtle, but then again, that depends who he's working with. This director, he's working with Statham for I think the first time, and I'm surprised at how subtle they went, because given the director's previous films and obviously Statham's career, I'm surprised they didn't go as all in as they could have done, or not that they should have done, but as they could have done. But I think that, yeah, it does what it says on the tin, and I thought it was really low budget as well. Not that budget matters when you're doing a film, but you could tell it was on a shoestring for some of it. And I mean, when he's going out on the boat to save the girl, I was like, oh, that's most of your effects gone down the drain there. That's kind of clearly where most of the budget's gone. And you can clearly tell that it's kind of really low down kind of crime kind of action film. But I saw it in Dolby, which is really worth it. And usually when I see a film in Dolby, if the film's crap, but then the experience is good, that's good.
Yeah.
But the film itself was all right, but the experience was good. I mean, really thumping like sound system speakers, which was good. But for a Statham film, it was a pleasant surprise, and kind of not as all out brain dead as he could have gone. But even though it's not all out brain dead Statham, it's still enjoyable Statham. And that's kind of a good kind of takeaway, I think. But yeah, the way the guy's still moving, the choreography is incredible, and the way he sort of like kicks and kind of can still, do action. I don't want him to ever
No.
retire, basically. And so if he can carry on, I mean, he's just done Beekeeper 2, and the director who's done Beekeeper 2, Ilya something. I
I'm
can't
still
pronounce
out
the
to
second
protect
name.
my bees.
But that
That was stupid. Fucking
you
hell.
got a needle drop in at some point. But the guy who's done Beekeeper 2 is one of my favorite action directors of all time, and the action this guy's done is like Gareth Evans level of good, and I can't wait to see what the Beekeeper 2 is like,
Crikey.
because the director's previous films of that is like some of the best action I've ever seen. So fingers crossed when that comes up. But for this, it was Statham's done some stinkers in the past, but this was okay, fair, I think.
I think I'm a bit warmer on it. I initially gave it 4 stars, and I'm like, no, I can't be going
Wow,
there. But
yeah.
I've reined it back to 3.5. I think there's something about it that this sounds like I'm damning it with faint praise, because I was going to say in its
Yeah.
best moments it made me want to rewatch other films, which sounds like I'm slating it. But there's a really great scene in a club, and I'm like, this is so John Wick. And I know that's such an obvious comparison to make. It's, middle-aged bloke that's still kicking and punching, but there's a great car chase in the middle of this film, and it's not filmed in a
Yeah, it's not
specifically
bad.
crazy way, but I was really locked in. I was like, oh my,
Shaky cam, that
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
thing.
But like, shaky cam is normally the bane of my life, but for whatever reason, I was on board with it, and I think it's because it's set in this really rural, obviously British location. You've got British police cars with the sirens, and they're all like getting wrecked, and then there's snipes going off through the fields of these farmyard places, and it just really, I really liked the whole setting of it. As you said, the sound design is pretty darn effective, and I thought the stakes in it were good.
Although I don't know, in terms of sort of seeing it in a normal cinema, I don't know. I mean, obviously, when I see a film in IMAX or Dolby, I never know whether to credit the actual cinema or the film. Which is whenever I review a film I saw in like a format, I don't know who to credit. Do I do film or theater? So yeah, it's kind of grey area for me in terms of who to actually give
Yeah.
that credit. But
I
it's
was
still
going
there.
to see it in iSense, but had to push it back because I was doing such fun things as tidying my room. But I ended up just seeing it in a regular screening, and it still really leapt off the screen for me. It felt kinetic, it felt exciting. And as you say, it is very low budget. I mean, it's got the sort of classic. The villain in this is, I don't think it's a spoiler to say, it's pretty obvious. It's Bill Nye. And Bill Nye. Of course, he's going to be
Really,
playing
in
some
that
sort
black
And Bill Nye.
turtleneck? No, I
brutal
would have
role.
never
Yeah,
guessed.
Those thick rim glasses in a random country house. Yeah, let go from the MI6, but feels a bit bitter. It's that sort of setup, and I think he's doing fine work, kind of phoning it in, but you were literally phoning it in, and you would if you Bill Nye. Naomi Aki, good and everything. Again, not really given a heck of a lot to do, but
No, a
still
bit wasted.
fine. And I thought the final confrontation worked. As you say, the dynamic of the girl really effective. Her acting not always the best, but it was
I thought
serviceable.
she's like a rising star. She's in something else as well. I can't
I
remember
certainly
what
recognised
it
her.
was. A TV show. But I don't know who she was. But I think it's one of those roles that you can sort of see. Oh yeah, you're going to be going
Yeah.
upwards and stuff like that. But I think the Bill Nighy role, it's the role you always give to a really seasoned British actor, or just like any seasoned actor. I mean, you give it to the Jeremy Irons, you give it to the Bill Nighy's, you give the old guy who's clearly just turned up for a couple of days' work, wants to check and wants to get out of there. He's like hamming it in, phoning it in, but he's that seasoned actor to give the film some experience, some credibility, if you want to say that. And you've seen that typecasting all the time everywhere else, and this is another example.
15
of
years ago, that could have been Michael Caine. Could have
Well, it
been-
is in
could have been
Kingsman,
Caine.
isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yes, of course. Yes,
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. I liked it. Let's be honest, we're probably going to forget about it this time in a month's time, but I think for what it's worth, I certainly had a good time, and it's not going to reinvent the wheel or anything, but Jason Statham, always a pleasant watch.
Exactly. Can't go wrong.
Before we head off today, a quick fire for you now, Sam. We told you at the beginning we were going to ask you this. I hope you've been thinking about it.
Yep.
What's your top 4 films?
Long and hard. I'm going to start with 4 and then keep you on your toes. Number 4. Ooh, is it on 3? Now, number 4 is Prisoners. And Denis Villeneuve, my favourite director of all time, and I'll be coming back to him more. But first time I saw Prisoners, knocked out by it, and I knew what it was vaguely. but I sort of didn't really know much about it. Watched it, and I felt like I'd been hit by a 2-ton truck. I watched it like in the middle, I think it was in the middle of the day on a sunny day. I think it was on a Sunday because I remember my parents cooking Sunday roast, and I came downstairs after watching that, and I felt like I needed to lie down. It was such an incredible experience. Number 3, Straight Outta Compton,
Nice.
which is always just to throw sort of random mix in there. That Straight Outta Compton used to be my favorite film of all time when I first saw it because I was just so gobsmacked by the way they did for a musical biopic. Emotionally, I was on board and it was gripping from beginning to end. But top 2, so number 2 is Dune Part 2. And I said to you guys, how I went down to London to see this because I texted my dad saying, I'm dying to see this. I refuse to see this in like a normal theatre. We're going down to London. We're going to go to the BFI. We're going to go to the biggest IMAX in the country and in Europe. And we're going to watch this properly. We're going to fork out the money to go and see it. We did it. And it was probably the best cinematic experience I've ever had. Absolutely incredible. I remember just sitting there after the credits rolled, just refusing to leave, refusing to get up because I was so overwhelmed by the film, but overwhelmed by the experience of being in the BFI for the first time. But my number 1 is Blade Runner 2049. To keep it with the Denis Villeneuve theme. So I've got 3 Denis
That's
Villeneuve
mental.
films in my list. And recently I've come to the conclusion that I want a Blade Runner tattoo, a Blade Runner 2049 tattoo, because the film changed my life. Because when I went to first see it, I remember coming out thinking I want every film to be like that. And I remember coming out of that film thinking that's why I love film, that's why I love cinema. And that's why I want to be a film critic for life. It's because of Blade Runner, and I'm in the process of trying to figure out a tattoo for it as well, which I've already just kind of come to. I don't know how I've not done that before now, but yeah, it's kind of a mixed. I think some people's top 4 lists are a lot more mixed than that. Mine are fairly straight arrow kind of sort of genres and stuff, but yeah, they're my kind of go-to solid ones, I'd say.
I'm sat here quietly because I've only seen Dune Part 2.
No way.
I've not.
The worst order.
Have you not
watched-
seen Blade Runner 2049
No,
or not seen
I've
Straight Outta
not
Compton?
seen the first Blade Runner, so I need to. It's my list, guys. It's so fucking long. It's longer than Roy Keane's appendage in Saipan. That's how long my watch list is. We'll get to it, okay? We'll get to it.
Right. Let's wrap it up. Cheers for listening to the podcast today. This was episode 98. If you want to get in touch with us, like many people do most weeks, you can. Please email in. It's hello@movieonup.com.
Sorry, we both just sniggered at that. If you'd like to get in touch with us on socials, as thousands of people are itching to do across the country, you can do so by heading to Instagram and TikTok. The handles for both those platforms are at @movieonup.
And I'll quickly throw in my hand just for the sake of it. So my Instagram is sam.j_Clark. But if you type in Spark Sunderland, my videos are all on there. All my reviews are all up there. And Spark Sunderland is basically the page you need to be on for any of my stuff.
There we go. Cheers for listening. Cheers for coming on, Sam. It's been good to have a different voice in it. It's nice.
Thank you very
it brings
much
up
for having me
a bit
on, by
of
the way. It's been a good time, though.
energy, a bit of fun sometimes. I think maybe we get a bit complacent sometimes, but it's nice to have someone
Speak
else
for
keep you on your toe.
Yeah. So thanks so much. It's been a blast. It's been a great time doing it.
Stay safe, watch the roads, have a lovely day, get out to the cinema, go and watch Shelter, don't watch 100 Nights of Hero, don't watch Saipan, go and watch The Housemaid if it's still playing, and
apparently
have a good
definitely watch Primate.
Definitely watch Primate.
Oh, yeah.
End us with a monkey noise.
Definitely.
We need a monkey impression, quick.
Ooh, ooh, ah, ah.
Bloody hell.
I'm tired. I've been at work all day. That's the best you're going to get out of me.